Victory lap though. Like this before. Lit the room when I came through the front door. Ask me if I should overcome. What for? Train in the trees, please pardon my sycamore. Touch burning sands, cross lands and stormy shore seasons in the year, yeah. Ain't no challenge for champions and chain no fear. Yup, the champ is here. Switch gears, we keeping haters in the rear. At the blood, sweat and tears and my goal so near. I see my victory so clear. I see my victory so clear. And today, we break through. 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 And today, we break through.
Hey, look at that. Right out of the gate. Twice in a row, Sprague. 0 technical issues, except for I had you turned down ever so slightly. So I guess it's like a half a technical issue.
Am I good now?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. There we go.
You like that? All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the post-game show, the Jacked Ramsays live post-game show. I'm your host, DannyMarang, joined as always by the one, the only, the official BrandonSprague. Never to be duplicated, never to be impersonated. There's another BrandonSprague on there that I accidentally tag on IG every time I do the social stuff, and he just like DMs me. He's like, "Wrong BrandonSprague again, dude."
There's quite a few BrandonSpragues in the world out there. We got Sprague Pest Control, we got Sprague High School, Sprague Lake, Sprague Road. Like we're kind of all
just
over
rubbing in your Sprague superiority over the meringue tree.
Well, the funny thing about that was I actually was very, admittedly, deeply insecure about my last name till about the age of 23.
Go on.
Well, I don't really have an explanation for it. I was embarrassed. People would say my last name wrong every time.
How did they say that wrong? Would they say Sprague?
Oh, Sprague, Spragoo, Spraggy, Spraggy. One time I got.
Did you grow up in the dumbest places possible, or?
I went to Park Rose High School, so I don't know how you want me to answer that question. That kind of answers it for you. But I was just always deeply insecure by it because I just thought it was an ugly looking name for no reason. But it turns out you get older and then you realize, damn, kind of more popular in Northwest than I thought it was.
Yeah, it's also just kind of there. There's not like, you know.
But it's not like I had a friend with Miller. I had a friend with Harding. Like I had a friend that was Bryant. Like I had a lot of friends who had super plain, normal last names. They'd be like, Sprague. And he'd be like,
it's okay. They hit me with the Marang, Marange.
Yeah.
Is it Marange? And I'm like, I don't know. Are you brain dead? Because it's spelled out Marang, Marang.
My watch, my headphones, when I'm working out, you text me sometimes when I'm at the gym, and it'll say, Danny Marang.
Is there a Y in there that I'm unaware of? Like what's?
It's like a text from Danny Marang says, "LOL, I don't do that." Which I think the whole conversation we're having tells you all you need to know about tonight's game.
Oh, 100%. Welcome in everybody to the Jacked Ramsays post-game show. Following the Blazers-Kings game, if you're listening tomorrow morning on the podcast version. It was a weird one. Sprague, I think we all kind of called this, right? It was a dumpster fire of a basketball game. but, and I do preface this with a but, there were a couple things to take from it. Most certainly, I think, a one Dennis Smith Jr. Sprague, thoughts? Mr. I don't take anything from the preseason?
I still don't. I didn't take anything away from tonight. Well, I mean, like, I'll just be honest with you. I thought that was kind of his spot going into tonight, and I'm not shocked that he ended up having the game that he had. The Kings were sitting a lot of people. It was kind of DSJ's, time to shine. It was his opportunity to go out there and get some buckets and show what he can do, and give him credit. He did. So talk
some ish while he was out there too, which I was kind of fan. No, I like that.
That's the good thing about DSJ. He's not afraid of slaying that wood. So I just think I thought it was his opportunity to take that spot anyway. So
he snatched it.
And he snatched it.
But that's the thing is we've seen guys be put in that opportunity before and fall on their face. Like There's the first. Lessery says Smith has been looking good, but don't we still need an extra big man? Listen, that's my only like caveat to this. Everybody's like, yeah, even me. I think DSJ is that guy. Do they trust their big health?
That's you know what? I'm sorry. You cannot live in fear. And if you have that fear,
cowards.
Why did you go sign a player that ended up getting hurt on average for 25 games a year? If you're worried about your big man rotation because they can't stay healthy, that kind of sounds like a you problem. Give me the better player. I want DSJ.
Yeah, it's certainly not a.
You can pick up these bigs on the scrap heap, man.
Like, that's the thing. You're going to be able to find those guys here in about 4 days. So
right, you're going to go. They're going to be all over the G League. All be over Europe. Like
guards that can dribble, pass, and shoot.
Harder to find.
Harder to find. And listen, he looked like he didn't belong out there, which I mean that in a positive light. Like he looked like he should be
playing for another team in the rotation.
Yes, like he looks like a competent player. Granted, he was going up against some lesser competition, but he was also going up against guys that, are not just rotation players, but starting players of an NBA team. Fox and Mitchell, both guys who I think are heady guys as far as at the point of attack, at least. And Dennis got whatever he wanted. I think that's something you can kind of pull from this. The flip side of this is the non-DSJ part. Marquise Chris, not good.
Oh, my pregame pick to have the best night of Marquise Chris was not. Yeah, no, he was awful.
It's
some guys. Hey, look, it is what it is for him. They're just some guys are not meant to be in this league for dumb reasons sometimes,
and it's fine.
He's
go make money overseas.
Go make some money and
It's just I want him to work out because he has a lot of tools.
See, I disagree with that. I didn't like him coming out of UW, and it wasn't like a personal thing. I just thought he was way too raw, and he showed me absolutely nothing at any. There was no one part of his game coming into the draft where I was like, that's really good. His athleticism is good. I wouldn't say it's really good for his height. So if you're not far and away that, what did you bring to the game? Like. And he unfortunately hasn't been able to develop it. Yeah,
for me, I think a lot of the tools, so to speak, is that he's like an NBA caliber big physically. And mentally, he's able to process things. He's more often than not in the right place, which matters. But it's when your hands are that bad, it's just everything that was thrown to him tonight, he bobbled. And he did it in game one, and it's been something. It doesn't make any sense. It's just he should be a lot better for what he's been. Welcome in everybody who's just pouring in here for the post game show. I appreciate y'all. It kind of is what it is, and Portland's going to probably have to go find somebody else. It's unfortunate that they don't have another guy they could put in the two-way spot because Keldon Blevins is taking up one of those spots. Watching him and Ellaby tonight, they're not NBA.
Hey, that's family business. All right?
Listen, I get it. I 100% get it.
Do we need to play the Kanye song right now for you to understand?
I think everybody understands it, but when you look like a perfect example is finding a guy like a Moses Brown and having that be your like break glass in case of emergency big, where now he's not just a two-way guy, he's a competent NBA player, rotation player.
That one hurts a little bit.
Yeah, so it's not great. Ellaby has shown some flashes of like understanding where to be defensively, but he's short-armed. He's not athletic enough. He's wildly inconsistent offensively. He just kind of plays with his hair on fire, and it's a tough scene.
Look, it sucks to say sometimes, but these guys are substantially better basketball players than you and I could ever dream of.
Oh God, yes.
The reality is, we're supposed to be honest about what we're seeing,
and
right?
We're grading on an NBA curve. These guys are all going to serve Brandon and I up on the basketball court. Don't get it twisted.
We give us a 20-point lead to 21, and they will beat us 21-20. Like
it is what it is.
But you said it. Like it's okay to say it. He does not look like an NBA player, and Blevins we know does not look like an NBA player. Like that's the unfortunate situation they're kind of stuck in right now.
So, I think other things you can take from the game, at least from me, Anthony Simons went out, scored pretty damn well, but two things. One, he decision-making was very good, in my opinion, as far as following off of game one. The assist numbers were not there because nobody could hit a three, including Ant, who finished the night 1 for 9 from three. But I also am perfectly fine saying the 43% three-point shooter is, perfectly okay by me having an off night. Like I the looks that he got, everything looked fine. But the second part of this, which is more important to me besides the decision-making, is, Brandon, you know how many times Ant got his feet in the paint?
A majority of his points all came from being aggressive and attacking in the paint tonight. He only had 1 3.
And getting downhill on Fox, on Davion Mitchell, on Terrence Davis, on guys who are going to be, people that are called upon to be point-of-attack defenders in the NBA. They're in the rotation. So when I look at that, I go, okay. Didn't have the numbers I wanted to see from the three-point shooting or the assist column. Got a little bit loose with the ball on those passes in the second half. Growing pains. But I like that while the three-point shot wasn't falling, he didn't settle. He kept getting downhill.
So I saw this from Curtis Long, who works on the Blazers broadcast.
Shout out the principal.
For Mace. At principal _Long. He says the starting 5 combined to shoot 2 of 16 from 3 tonight, had 7 total assists and committed 14 turnovers, which, you sum that up. What happened tonight for the Blazers? Basically that. Let me add to the Anthony Simons thing. Oh, go ahead. You got something?
No. I was just putting the graphic up as you alluded to with the turnovers. That was me doing my sound effects. Boop. It works really good for the audio medium if you're listening the next day on the podcast. So
on the Ant note, look, I liked his playmaking. I liked the looks that he was creating for guys. I absolutely, the best thing he did tonight, he had a few plays like where he was coming off the pick. He kind of drove to the lane. He had one possession in particular in my mind. He went to the paint. He was dribbling with the left. He kind of did a quick hezzy, and then he went up aggressively with the left and finished.
That was his first shot of the night.
He had a few of those plays tonight that I was kind of like, okay, I like to see that. I'm with you on the 3-point shot. Like, it's not a problem until it's a problem, and I'm not ready to say it's a problem. Like, again, that game was garbage.
He's got a couple 100 threes under his belt. One bad shooting night. This is a guy that we saw hit 9 straight threes. I'm not entirely worried about
let's wait for the regular season stretch to come before we conclude anything. Whatever, 1 for 9. The whole team stunk from 3 tonight anyway. Only criticism for me. They clearly, their MO tonight was go be the guy, right? Go be the guy and create the offense, get guys going, start running some picks with Larry and Nurk. My only criticism, I really did think he was too loose with his handle. That's, there's something you had alluded to in the past that guys were keying up on. Go defend him almost the full length, put some pressure on his handle. I have no doubt that he worked on it, but tonight it just, he drove and he had to save it a couple times himself. It just was a little too loose. And if you do that in the regular season, those are potential turnover situations. So there was some good, there's some real good. And then I thought there was something that he could go to look at film on. Yeah,
I think Davion Mitchell is a hell of a guy to go up against in a night like this. And I'm not saying that as a way to excuse Ant. I am fully on board with what Lamar and KC were talking about with Davion Mitchell because they talked to the King staff as well. I think Mitchell's going to be a hell of a point-of-attack defender in the NBA. He is going to be an absolute monster. He moves his feet. He knows how to cut angles. He bodies up. He's strong as a damn ox. As Richmond pointed out on Twitter tonight, he's a whole year older than Anthony Simons as a rookie.
Yeah,
like
off night.
Yeah, they call him off night for a reason. He is gonna put clamps on you, and he didn't put clamps on Ant, but he definitely one of the things Ant needs to learn how to do, in my opinion, is he needs to cover the ball. One of the things that Dame has his own version of it. Ant's a longer arm guy and not nearly as big shouldered as Dame, so I don't know if he can get in the full running back stance. But if he can get kind of Brandon Roy had that upright. Let's go a little NFL here. Steven Jackson, shout out Oregon State Beavers. Had that upright running back style as opposed to the LaDainian Tomlinson down low. I think if Ant can use that with kind of his change of pace and cover up a little bit better in traffic, I think that's something that you could see a little bit of development. But pushing forward into the turnover department, 27 off of 26 in game one. One game, 2 games, If we see this,
but you're missing too many key players for me to care
that's what I'm
about
saying.
Most stats tonight.
If we see this win, because from what I understand against Utah, was that Wednesday? We will see
Phoenix.
Phoenix. God, I get
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm getting all my games mixed up right now. I believe that we will see a little bit of a dress rehearsal.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's part of the reason why these guys sat tonight is they didn't want to show the dress rehearsal to the Kings.
Right, since you're opening the season with them.
Yeah. So even though again we talked like it's not really the NFL, you're not holding back a ton of packages, but you don't want to show everything. You don't want to put it all on film and give them something to prep for. I was a little bit surprised the Kings rolled out basically their starting lineup and played significant minutes. That was
I think they came in tonight to say "fuck you, Portland." Like I think that was kind of their MO. Is we might not win this.
Had enough
game,
of this crap.
We'll win this one tonight, man. We're not trying to lose on opening night and not have any dubs here.
Yeah, but again, pretty sloppy tonight. If things still look a little cheeky in Game 3, Game 4, and you're seeing the starters playing a little bit more, I'm not ringing the bell, but I'm not thrilled. That's, and this is where you're going to get that whole coaching divide. The Blazers took damn good care of the ball for 10 years or 9 years under Terry. If that goes wildly the other way,
if it's going to go to 24, 25,
they were 11 a game last year, Brandon.
Yeah, you're more than doubling. You're almost tripling at the rate you went tonight.
So let's reel that back in. And then I'm not saying they can't. We will. And it's one of those things where I'm not worried about it, but it certainly might. When I start seeing things get a little bit loose, I'm going to go, Speaking of getting loose, Larry Nance Jr. Tonight showed a little bit more. And, of course, I grabbed the wrong graphic because I didn't pay attention. But for me, he looked much more comfortable tonight. What was your initial observation of Mr. Nance Jr.?
I thought he looked really damn comfortable tonight, and I thought he looked more comfortable than the starting center. And that's not to say that Nurk didn't have an impact in tonight's game. He obviously did. I thought Larry going from Game 1 to Game 2, he kind of asserted himself a little more. Yeah. And it felt like that effort, even though the stats may not still pop to some with a 5-4, he ended up with 3 steals, and that was huge. His hands were all over the defensive side of the ball. And to see what he was kind of doing on offense, starting to feel a little more comfortable, and I think what his role was, at least for tonight and maybe even going forward, I thought he showed a lot tonight. Him and Ant finished with a really good stat line, so that helps because we had talked about that pregame.
But they were playing off each other really well on the DHO when it wasn't there. They reset. One of the looks that I thought was really nice for Ant, like you said, with how they were playing off each other, that right angle DHO screen and reset. Ant turns the corner, pulls both defenders. Nance floats to the top, and Ant threw that right-handed hook pass. Yep. And it's not just making that pass. And this is for Ant, for CJ, for Dennis, for Nurk. It's about not just making that pass, but making it on time and putting it in the right spot. Because that's not an easy pass, because you're going away, you're throwing, you've got to be strong with it, and it needs, because if you miss that, that's going in the backcourt, and that's going 2 points to be the other way. It's a nightmare for you. So he whips it confidently and hits Nance right in the pocket. Nance doesn't hit the 3, but those are the kind of things where, again, I don't care about box score. I'm looking at process in the preseason. I thought, like we talked about going into this, those two playing off each other a little bit more, building that relationship looked pretty good, and kind of revisiting Nance in general, I felt like he was impactful even more than Game 1 and Game 2 with vocally. I mentioned it on Twitter. He got a switch. I believe he had Mitchell on the block and sealed him and high-low. Nurk threw a one-handed wrap bounce pass, and Mitchell was able to dig and knock it out of bounds. Yeah. And Nance was like, no. He immediately shook it off like, no, up, put it up.
You can't throw it on the ground like that. You got to toss it up. Nurk should know that, too. He's a big.
Yes.
Make it easier on the bigs.
And one of the things I love from Nance is he does not mince with bullshit. If you screw up, if you need to do something better, he immediately lets you know.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
There was a play early on. I think it was Nurk ended up hitting a long 2. The ball reversed. It was Nance on the right-hand side doing a DHO with Blevins. He gave Blevins the handoff. He rolled. Both defenders went with Blevins, and Nance turned and then he immediately turned away and shook his head in disgust, like, how do you miss me here? And he wears it on his sleeve, and I like that.
Now, I like it too. Is there any part, though, where that maybe doesn't resonate in the right time?
I don't care.
Okay.
I'm being dead honest because they have not had that guy. This is an argument I've had with a lot of people over the last, 5 years. When was the last time the Blazers had anybody on the court that will hold anybody accountable, like on the floor? Not the coaching staff. I don't give a.
Wes was your last guy.
Yes. And would Wes do the exact same thing if you blew that and missed that?
Probably.
Was he animated about it?
Yes.
So yeah, I think they need that guy. And I've talked to a lot of people in Cleveland. They all said the same thing. If Larry thinks you missed something, you messed something up, you were supposed to be here, he is going to let you know. And if you don't like it, he's going to go above you, and he's going to go to the team leaders and go, hey, so-and-so is not doing this. You need to get on their ass. And I love that about him. So,
look, they've needed a bulldog on this team for quite some time. I was hoping Nas would fill that void.
Yep. Probably still too young.
He's still too young. Obviously, he didn't play tonight. But if you can get a vet to do it in the meantime, all the power to you.
So those are I think the big takeaways from tonight. Nance more involved. Ant found a way to kind of figure things out. The 3-ball wasn't falling. Takes a step, gets inside, shows a little something else. Dennis Smith Jr. locks up basically where he needs to be as far as being that 14th man. I think I'm pretty comfortable finding the break glass in case of emergency point guard being Dennis Smith Jr.
Yeah.
Like, have you reached that 100%. Point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because what's your alternative? Quinn Cook?
Quinn looked okay. He's a different kind of player, though. I don't think you have him running your offense. I think Dennis Smith Jr. can run your offense.
I want DSJ.
Yeah.
I want everything that DSJ has that Quinn clearly doesn't. That's what I want.
Yeah, they need somebody. Dame rolls an ankle, CJ rolls an ankle, Ant rolls an ankle. Whoever picks up a knock and misses a couple games, because inevitably it'll happen.
Right.
You can throw DSJ out there and not worry. I think that's something that's nice. I don't think it's a situation where you're going to sit there and say if Ant has a bad night, well, they should give his minutes to Dennis. I don't think that's going to be the situation at all. So, but having him there as injury insurance or blowouts either way, so where you don't have guys out of position to where you can just kind of keep things going, I think that's a good thing. That's a progressive thing to kind of keep going. Overall, was there anything in here tonight that you were able to make a conclusive decision on? I'm gonna give you your Sean Highkin. Are you gonna commit to anything more than one preseason take?
No, I don't have anything. I got nothing.
Okay, let's see if I can get you to...
I emptied the clip.
Let me see if I can get you to commit to this. If the plan is to go full dress rehearsal for a half tomorrow, Wednesday, does that bother you?
No, it doesn't. I think you need one of those, right? Like, I just saw the Lakers haven't played Braun, AD, and Russ yet. They're about to go do that.
Yeah, they're going to do that in their next game, yeah.
I think you need one. I think you need one in the preseason. I don't need a ton of minutes.
Just a half.
You give me a half. They do that in the NFL. Cool. I'd still be cool if they didn't do that, but if you give me a half, yeah. I especially against Phoenix. Like, I don't know what Phoenix is going to choose to do on Wednesday. Maybe they sit their guys and say, screw you, we're not getting into this right now. I'm okay with that. I would whether the Phoenix guys play or not, to me, doesn't matter. It's a moot point. I at least want to see.
You want to see them against the scout team.
I want to see that group
Yep.
take advantage of a scout team and go out there and maybe give us a glimpse of what to expect the first 5-6 games.
I think it's probably the way to go. And Leslie brought up a really good point here, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention it. Greg Bound had another dunk.
He had 8 boards, too. He was active.
I love how he moves.
You need a big guy. Who needs to look for Marquise Chris? Maybe we just freaking play Greg Brown and say, screw it. We need 3 minutes, Greg. Go play.
I think ultimately that may be the way things go, because with Chris, you're sitting there going, you kind of know what he is. And I look at Greg, and even though he's going to make mistakes because he's a rookie and he's so raw, he's going to make mistakes with a lot more exclamation points on it. He had that kind of up and under finish on the cut, great hands, moving at full speed, 1-2 finish, absolute hammer dunk. I think it was like 30 seconds later. I think he's a nice little spark. I saw somebody liking him at Thomas Robinson on Twitter. I don't know if I'd go that far. I think that Greg can be a little bit more of a basketball player and less reliant on athleticism. T-Rob had one move, and everybody in the NBA knew it was coming, and that was the spin move, and the guys would just sit there and dig down and wait to steal from it every time. So, I think overall, decent performance from the guys we expected. The guys that we didn't, I think we got, if nothing else, we got confirmation that Marquise Chris is not the guy, that Quinn Cook is not the guy. Oh, God, and I hate to do this. Two-Pat is not the guy. Patrick Patterson
looks like his Achilles is about to blow as soon as he steps on the court. God bless you, Patrick Patterson.
They love him. Like, every time he did anything, the whole bench went nuts.
Yeah, it's... He's had a great career.
Yeah, no, he's been great.
He's had a great career. Yeah. And we got to see him in a Blazer uniform. That's cool.
I wanted him in Portland, like, legitimately in the Aldridge era. So,
yeah. I mean, it's been Aldridge era, even slightly post-pass Aldridge era. I would have been in love with that move.
That's the kind of timeline we're operating on. So it's not great in that regard. But
no,
it is what it is. Did you catch Brooks' interview with Neil Everett?
I didn't. I missed that.
So
I saw the tease on Twitter. I missed it on the pre.
The more I saw it, the more I was like, yep, that's it. That's the guy. He kind of teared up, and you could tell he just loved it. So I'm really looking forward to that. Dre Bryant, Pat reminded me of my uncle playing, which I think is, you brought that up on Twitter as well. It was
I mean, Pat looked like an uncle shooting hoops in the driveway, and you're out there and he's making you rebound, and the entire time he's like, yeah, I gave buckets. I got a state title.
30 and 15 in high school, young buck.
And as he's telling the story and you're rebounding for him, he is shooting like constant air balls, and you're not saying anything, but you're like, come on, man, really? Like, you're out here talking about how good you are, you're shooting air balls?
I'm always reminded that Kendrick Perkins averaged like 32, 16, and 8 in high school.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Look, you take it a level below NBA, and these dudes will bust your ass. By the way, we got Neil Everett on my radio show Wednesday at 8:30.
Oh, you got him already?
Got him already.
Well, hopefully I'll get my response as well.
You got to be big time.
Well, we both know that's not the case here. So.
Actually, we had to pay to get him on, so that
Listen, man, I'll pay him an Abby's Pizza.
Oh, hey,
you like
hello.
that? Little call back
like
there. What else you got coming up for the rest of the week on 1080, good buddy?
We just got a bunch of football stuff. I mean, tonight, look, I know there's a Blazer pod. Lamar Jackson
went one of the bonkers, and your parlay hit.
Look, the parlay hit, and that was great. I was really happy to win money. That's one of the better quarterback performances I've seen. Like, that dude was unbelievable. He threw for 323 and 4 touchdowns in the second half of that game, but he somehow came back and won that game. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk some more Pac-12 stuff. Like a little MLB playoffs, and maybe Wednesday talk about the Blazer game for a minute.
Which will give you just enough time to get ready for the next Blazer game Wednesday night.
Wednesday afternoon.
Oh, excuse me. That's right. Quick reminder, everybody.
Do you need me to do the schedule stuff on this
show? I told you,
okay?
The more I cover this team, the less I realize what the schedule is doing. It all blends together. God, I've got 500 plus pre and post game shows in my career, and it's all just one long pre and post game show at this point in time. Gabe says no football talk. We will work it in whenever we damn well please. God damn
wow, a super anti-football guy. I like it.
but reminder, Wednesday is the one preseason game where we will not have the pregame show. It is too damn early. Most people are going to be working. The game is at 2. The WNBA finals are playing in Phoenix. DT and the ladies will be trying to hold it down, and they're down.
They're down 0-1.
They're down 0-1. That's right. I saw
Candace Parker and company already won.
Yeah, so they'll they'll be having that game. So the tip-off is 2. I would imagine we probably go live at like 4:45 for the post-game wrap.
4:30, 4:45, somewhere around there.
It'll be early, which, I mean, I'm not entirely against that. So if you can, be there. If not, again, as always, remember, all of the post-game shows will be available the following morning on the podcast feed. As much as I try to keep the visual medium here, it's also, friendly for the podcast listeners as well. And again, if you haven't already, please like, rate, review, subscribe. If you're here on YouTube, take 2 seconds, click the subscribe button. It's free. If you're not already downloading the podcast, it is available wherever you get podcasts. Just Google search Jacked Ramsays, just like the great Neil Everett did, as he discovered the Jacked Ramsays show exists and wanted to shout us out. Which
we'll get him on the pause, sure enough.
Oh, no, that'll 100% happen. So,
absolutely happening.
But again, thank you all so very much. Again, these are going to be shorter in the preseason, especially when 8 of your top 10 rotation guys are not playing. That's kind of how that goes. So thank you all so very much. For Brandon, I'm Danny. Remember, guys, you can find us across all social media, at Jacked Ramsays, at DannyMarang, at BrandonSprague, live pre- and post-game show for every game except for Wednesday's game. We will have the live show, non-pre-post-game show on Thursday, and then the mailbag always going live on Monday mornings. Until then, guys, remember you can reach out to us, jackedramsays@gmail.com. If you're not on Twitter, if you want to submit questions or you just want to shoot the stuff, that's kind of how it goes. All right.